Okay, to start with, I'm going to start with midpoint. I'm going to start at the bottom of the page, oddly enough, because somehow that's the order I went in. But, so let's look at this first problem here. They give us 2 points. Point 1 is 8 and 3. Point 2 is negative 14, negative 13. They asked me to find the midpoint, so suppose that's what they say. Find the midpoint. Remember, midpoint is like an average. So all you do is you add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. So I'm going to add the x's, add this and this, so 8 minus 14 divided by 2, comma, 3 minus 13 divided by 2. Okay? So 8 minus 14 is negative 6. So this would be negative 6 over 2, comma, 3 minus 13 would be negative 10 over 2. And so final answer would be negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3, and negative 10 over 2, which is negative 5. So we found the midpoint. All right, so next case here, it says point P sub 1 is 5a 6 and point 2 is 7a 4. Find the midpoint. You're going to do it exactly the same way. They just happen to throw in some letters, but that's okay, you can do that. So we'll just say it's 5a, we just add the x's, so 5a plus 7a divided by 2, comma, 6 plus 4 divided by 2. Alright, so 5a plus 7a would give us 12a divided by 2, and 6 plus 4 over 2 would be 10 over 2. And then finally, 12a over 2 reduces to be 6a, and 10 over 2 is 5. So that would be our midpoint right there. Easy enough, right? Okay, let's look at this next problem. Let me make sure you can see it. Oh yeah, okay, right there. It says a line segment has an endpoint of negative 8, negative 4, and it has a midpoint of negative 1, negative 1. Find the other endpoint. Okay, so this is an endpoint, this is the midpoint right here. So let's say we call our other endpoint xy. Okay, so apparently then negative 8 plus, or let's say x minus 8 divided by 2 is going to be equal to, well, let's go ahead and say x minus 8 over 2. That would be the x coordinate, and the y coordinate would be y minus 4 divided by 2. And these have to be equal to negative 1, negative 1. So you can just kind of set this equal to this. So if you say x minus 8 divided by 2 is equal to negative 1, and we could also say that y minus 4 divided by 2 is equal to negative 1. Then we're just going to solve these problems, okay? So let's say, remember, we're trying to solve for x. So to get x by itself, maybe I need to first get rid of this 2. So to do that, I'll multiply both sides by 2. So that way these cancel, and I get x minus 8 is equal to negative 1 times 2, which is negative 2. And then if I just add 8 to both sides, that gives me x is equal to 8 minus 2, which is 6. So now I know part of my answer. The x coordinate is 6. Then to figure out the y coordinate, I'm going to do the same way. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. These cancel then. So then I get y minus 4 is equal to negative 2. Then I just add 4 to both sides. So I get y is equal to 2. So now I know the x and the y coordinates. So my answer is the other endpoint would be 6, 2. Once again, how did I figure this out? This is an endpoint, this is the midpoint. So I just called the endpoint that they asked me to find, I called it xy. So apparently x minus 8 divided by 2 and y minus 4 divided by 2 is going to have to be equal to negative 1, negative 1. Then I just kind of set them both equal to each other. This equal to this over here, and this equal to this, and figured out what x and y were. All right, that's our discussion of midpoint.